Tell His Highness this. One wrong can move a people, and wronged people can move the world. Tell His Highness this. One wrong can move a people, and wronged people can move the world.
Welcome. This is a brief topic. I make warning points for all victims of choice in Iraq. 1. You completely disavow mind control gangs and try to find any means of flags or an official body in order to give them complete information about you. You mean your full name and what do you do? I mean, how do you have a job, for example, or you do not have someone who gives you money or even help, and what is the capacity? Is it aid or loans, etc.? Also, do you have an organization or not? Do you work in any organization or not? Are you a religious leader or not? And as I said, you have to give full information about anything you own, meaning a house or more, shops, properties, farms, and anything else. Do you work in politics, government, or security also? Son, of course, most victims of choice live with their families, and I have also noticed that many of them are not married, and I don't know exactly whether there is a relationship between unmarried victims. This is a topic, perhaps look for it later. The important thing is, if you live with your family, you have to clarify whether the relationship between you and your family is only a normal social relationship or that there are other relationships. For example, do you own an organization and they have elements and you are a manager over them also, so that they are your family, as you have to say, what do you know about your family's home? I mean, you live in a house to live and not a church or an organization's headquarters or anything else, and you are not responsible except for what you have said. You also have to say what your relationship is with them. Are they just social relationships or something else? This is a set of advice that I think will be very useful for victims of choice in getting rid of the black traits that mind control gangs are forging. 2. Also, if you go to the Bible church, you have to specify the reason for this exactly. I mean, is it a normal visit, or you belong with them, or not? These tips may not know its meaning, but it is very useful because the victims do not know anything about what is happening to them, and no one will come to warn them and tell them the truth. Also, I have some other advice, which is that the victim should act as it is, meaning if she is a simple citizen, she should act like this also. Distrust of anything from gangs to mind control, no matter how tricks and lies. Of course, this gang will succeed if it is able to make the victim suffer something similar to schizophrenia or personality. It falls into the trap of swindling and fraud. For example, we all believe in the power of God, but there is a vast difference between what Satan does and the power of God. Now I give you some stories that I want to communicate to you the way this gang with the victims of choice and how you try to make the victim think that they are the authority of God or the voice of God, and they take advantage of people's stupidity or lack of knowledge of technology. For example, it happened in Iraq that someone was known to be a fraud and a liar, and he was running after money in any way. This is why he built a wizard and its color so that it became something, and after this he went and said falsely that he heard sacred voices in it or there is a light shining from it, and after this the gullible believed him and started to go to her, and with this he started getting money here. Jerusalem in Iraq, which is a sacred thing for evil purposes, also makes the victim think that God gave him a treasure while he is an organization, and this organization has conditions, including that he does not take any money from it or deal with it with love, so the victim will fall. 3. In this trap, and you think that it will benefit others in it or whoever wants to benefit them in it, while the truth is that it is something like a singer frog who thinks that he who finds it is a treasure or something will bring him money, while only harm comes from this organization. The same thing, and also the victims think that you got something important, power, or treasure, and you are trying to hide this and stick to it while it is the same harm. Of course, as I said, deception technology is used, which is, for example, internet games or V2K, which is sounds that the victim hears and he does not know anything about them and thinks that they are the voice of God. Also, the gang implants slides for mind control over him, and she is the one who feels about him with it, while the victim thinks that God is, because he has become something very important here. The victim will start to act in something similar to schizophrenia, meaning he acts against his nature, and this is exactly what this gang wants. I mean, you want him to act as a leader or he has power. The gang is for the victim to behave like this. The reason I said it is not 1,000 times even when the leader of this gang hides himself and exploits the bodies of the victims of choice and makes him a scapegoat for him or only confront him, and if the victim behaves as he is, meaning just a simple citizen, this devil's line will fail, and no one will believe that this simple person is a leader or manager, while if he does something different, this devil's plan will succeed. Of course, the foolish victim is doing something different, meaning he thinks that the organization of God that does nothing but good only or only when he says it to her or takes orders from him. While this is not true, they do not have any authority over it all over anything, and it does not even know what God is, but rather they are evil terrorist gangs, of course. For that, the foolish victim tries at first to hide this because he thinks it is a treasure, but he does not know what this gang publishes about him, and he does not know either. I have made them have elements. We have another trick, which is that wherever the victim goes in a place that is seen for him, or if he lives in a house or enters a farm or restaurant or any place, this will become his trick as well. But only fools who are victims of choice who live in the world of illusion, they think it is the authority of God while it is only a game. For example, the victim cannot equity in anything, meaning if he lives in a house he will not be able to dispose of it at all, nor take anything from it or sell it, for example, or rent it, and so is the case in any restaurant, farm or shop. Even if he tries to take something, his end will be bad because whoever owns the house or restaurant will prevent him. Of course, there is an impure game. The way of it, which is not believing this gang at all. For example, they say that the victim should hit the owner of the house or restaurant in order to take something, and either way of this will be the end, either in prison or a psychiatric hospital only, and something like this happened in Iraq because of the stupidity of the victims. We also have another dirty trick, which is to make the victim think that he has followers, and they are those who carry out his orders, and he does not need a weapon, for example, and does not need to carry money with him. He does not need to do anything himself, but only gives orders. This is his biggest lie, and it has no truth at all. 6. They are gangs completely outside the law also. The reason for this confrontation must be known, which is that the victim is just a simple citizen only, and these gangs are against him only and not competing with him for a position, money or property he has, or it is a confrontation between two parties, meaning the victim is not a person who has followers or half in this gang or position while facing a gang or group competing with him. This lie is the one that this gang spreads on the victim and for every plan he takes against them. If he does not believe the victim to try himself and test his followers or his team, if he thinks that he has a followers or a position or half to give them in order to change all the laws that they know about, also they give an amount of 20 million dinars, of course no one will give him anything and they will not implement at all because they are nothing but a lie from this gang in order to make the victim run a car race, and he does not have a car. I mean, he will face entire gangs, I mean, not 1, 2 or 10, so maybe this is easy, but hundreds of my children. Here, the possibilities are enormous while he is just one person here. The situation must be known between the two parties, I mean, only one person is poor. He has no position and no followers against a gang. This is the truth. Of course, there are things that indicate this, which is that many victims put videos or words and other things, and this it also indicates that they do not have any followers, nor do they have any position, money, or property in this gang. If they had something simple, even they would not have spread one word, even because they will also reveal themselves, they are also partners in it, and the issue will become a conflict between 7. Between thieves in one gang, I mean, the victim will become a person who is only competing and not a victim at all, and this considers that everything that he publishes is a lie here. Something here is another thing that I want to reveal, which is the tricks of this gang in making the victim remain silent or not speaking, and it is very dirty tricks that they manipulate with the feelings of others. For example, I have a victim from Iraq, and he considers, for example, the moon as his brother. Watch by means of mind control slices, and they use the internet or the phone to make him think that they are the moon, or there's half of them is with the moon, and if he refuses to acknowledge their laws, then he will make the moon angry with him, meaning the tricks and dirtiness of this dirty terrorist gang in exploiting the emotions of the victim and making it he walks in the way they want him. I mean, they made him believe that if he removes his moon picture from the mobile, he will lose the moon, or they make him think that the moon is in their own hands, while they are just a terrorist group as well. There is a love game, and it is one of their dirtiest games. I mean, for example, this person considers the moon a brother to him, and this is something that is well established, and the nature of the relationship is his brother only and has no interest at all. That you put pictures of your brothers 24 hours as well, all of them are brothers to you. It makes no difference, and it is not that when you talk to the moon, this means that the sun has become your enemy, but he's a brother as well, but the tricks of this gang are trying to play a game with you.
And talk about your church. They might whisper into your ear that your church doesn't want you anymore because we know what you did sort of 2 months back. We know that you did something unpleasant, that sort of thing. So this is quite an elaborate.
It's have become a mediator between your home and your brothers, and this is, of course, a very unacceptable thing. It is only an evil mediator. Of course, this is also a lie. They make of you, for example, a person looking for a benefit, for example, or for his wife or a homosexual, or that you have a wife and a homosexual. Of course, the truth is that they are not mediators at all. They have nothing to do with the moon and the sun, and they are enemies to them, and you also. Of course, this game involves many because this gang has professional carders in lying and deceit, and they can impersonate the United Nations, for example, with all skill, or a human rights organization, or that they are an international organization, etc. And this happened a lot in Iraq. Here the gang can harm the victim by impersonating him as his friends or parties he respects very much, and they will take advantage of this in order to harm him. Their deception methods are unusual. I mean, you get to know a character in the United Nations and you have a picture of it. Here the dirty game begins for them. They will make elements of them. It makes itself like this image or the United Nations. After this, they try to make you go in ways they want, and if you refuse, you will lose the United Nations and the image. Then there is no solution but know a friend of this gang at all and not trusting it and working with what you know or as your truth means. If you were in the desert and suddenly you noticed a herd of hyenas and you did not have any weapons, would you attack? Of course. But it may save your life here. I want to say that the videos and speech will not destroy the gang at all, but it will only help the victim to escape, or at least to keep them away from it. I mean, even if the victim reveals anything about them, it will not happen. 9. Nothing will happen to them, but it will benefit in escaping them only. It is also wrong for the victim to say that he faces the gang, as he does not face at all, but rather he is trying to escape from them only. It is not called a confrontation, but rather an attempt to escape. Now I have another very dirty game that I want to reveal to you, and it is a game that only brings shame to the victim, and it is the choice of a wife or anomaly for this devil who exploits his body, and this is a very shameful thing that happens in Iraq. Of course, this tyrant is the leader of this gang who exploits the bodies of victims. Choice is a cursed, arrogant tyrant who knows no law except what he thinks only, and this bumbling son has a way that he has a wife and with her a homosexual person in every branch of his gang in Iraq. Here they have emphasized that he is the one who owns the wife and not the victim of choice at all, while exploiting his victim of choice. In one of the most filthy tricks of this devil is that he chooses for him either his wife or a homosexual. 10. Until now, we have known that there is a corrupt and dirty organization that is all wrong and all of its work is outside the legality and the law. A terrorist organization, and the victim has nothing to do with it, and he will not get anything from it no matter what he tries, as he does not have any authority. Whose boxes are all in this gang. The victim is made to appear as if he is the manager of it, or whoever registers the elements for her, or who chooses elements of leadership for her, and this gang is not simple but owns very large money, while the victim of choice does not have anything. I think that this talk is very important to know all the victims of choice. This is another thing that I want to focus the warning on, which is to warn the victims of their families. I do not want to separate, but it is like this that almost all victims, or most of them, are exploited by their families and the house that the victim of choice resides in it. This Satan who exploits the victim's body will make the victim's family as if it were an organization or a church who leads them, and not at all the victim of choice. For the victim or the so-called friends of the victim also plays the game of competition. It is he who brings the homosexual security agent to make him present in the victim's house and outside the victim's house as well. You are trying to deceive the victim that she has a follower, a half, or a team. There is another team, which is a group of homosexual or morally degenerate gangs who are competing with her. The way of believing this. 11. She does not have a car, meaning a guerrilla war, while she does not have any followers. I mean, you can think about this. Is there a follower who follows a person for free? Of course, no. Then why did the victim not ask herself who pays them money also? There is a question or a simple test that the victim can know that this group, the one who claims to be with her, is a group of liars only, and that when you give them orders to see whether there is implementation or does not mean you say change the laws or give the sum of 20 million dinars, for example, none of them will implement anything, and this indicates that the victim does not have any followers at all. As for the issue of closing the stream, for example, electric airplanes or electronic aircraft are one of the deception methods that this gang uses to make the victim believe that she also has followers. There are internet games and other things. One gang, one who knows the other, and colleagues too. If you go to her friends, she will find the same thing too. She may find a friend's son or a brother for him, or visit a friend in his government department. She will find colleagues for him. They become a group of the enemy. Of course, all of these are the tricks of one person, which is Satan, and the evidence is that they all know the same law and they are all in one record only, so they are only one organization or one family or the church. He is a very cunning gang leader, as he has a way to make himself even inside his gang as if he loves them all, while he blames the responsibility on his victim of choice when he chooses from them elements who also lead them. 12. Here's another thing, which is falsifying a role for the victim within the gang itself, whereby this devil tries to make himself like the victim's secretary, but he is the one who gives orders and he is the director of this gang, but he lies and says that the victim is the one who gives him orders and he is the one who distributes them to them. Of course, there are many factors that make those who survive the victim is a possible matter. First, if she had weapons and a group of true friends, and also if there were honest state agencies. But in Iraq this is impossible, because it is the corrupt state number one in everything. All of its branches are inside Iraq, and this organization has absolutely no relationship with the coalition countries or Europe, America and their friends. Rather, they are a dirty intelligence network from the days of the previous regime that entered the Bible Church, but they are an epidemic that impersonates multiple attributes. The picture looks like this organization is like a flock of flies running after the victim wherever he goes inside Iraq. Of course, this is not evidence of illness. The victim is at all with these flies, but it is because the leader of this gang exploits the body of the victim of choice only, and this is a despicable terrorist who does not benefit with him. There is absolutely no legitimate organization working for it.
And the funny thing is, your friends and your family and your other loved ones, they become sort of ghost-like, but the cosmos itself, nature itself, suddenly has discovered that you are the chosen one, and it's chasing you to touch the slip of your garment because you are the one. The irony is, of course, that as I speak this sentence, tens of thousands of people worldwide are insane, and they all feel that they are the chosen one. So something is not right there. Anyway, the thing is, you never really discover what you are chosen to do, because it's like dreaming, but on steroids. You're chosen to do a bazillion things. You get a million revelations, as weird as John's in the Bible. And this information floods your brain until you short circuit, you talk nonsense, and you wet yourself. You are officially insane. The tragedy is, of course, that when this hyper-love affair of the brain with itself ends, you discover that instead of being the chosen one, you have now descended to the lowest rungs of society indeed. You are now officially a crazy person, and it will take you years and years to recover from your experience. And this is just the bright euphoric side of the coin. There's also an extremely dark side to psychosis. In 2007, a 23-year-old woman threw down her baby from the 4th floor of the Amsterdam department store, de Bijenkorf, and jumped after her.
1. Whether you believe that you are something important, or you have a role, or you know the unseen, or that you have an important position, and there are those who compete with you for it. and do not trust them. Listen to their words, but do not believe anything and do not take it. Lie to them, for they are evil thieves. They are not something worthy of respect at all. And still damaging the DNA in your body, and this alone is enough for your relationship with them to be an enemy. Your body, did you hear, secretary, put a mind control chip on the manager and started spying on him and claiming that he takes orders from him or passes orders from him. Of course, there is no such thing at all. Yeah, he's a gang and he invented laws for which no one in the world works by them, and they are gang laws only, and as long as you do not know about this, it is continuous, and as soon as you know this, he will try to make you a person who is not good or not qualified or does not know the unseen. Also warn the victims from playing it. The gang wants to settle down, work, get married, or he is crazy. These tricks from them, I mean, if they were like this, why did they kill the victim by means of mind control? Is this a bullet of mercy or what else? 2. Understand, even if I tell them women is better, they will not admit this because their leader is married to a homosexual, and they will not leave this at all either. No matter how good you try to be good, or even if you admit their laws, also beware that they laugh at you and tell you to give it up, give it, leave it, or take it from you because you are an unqualified person, or not good, or not working unseemly, or not hitting or stealing, because you have nothing to give up. For example, can you give up shoes that are not yours, or you didn't wear them? Only those who are righteous of them are correct and their games are like swindlers who laugh at you. In it, this becomes a game for you only as well. Try to ignore the laws of these people and act normally as a simple citizen or as you are just as you are. You think that I envy or do not want good for you? You can try it. These I give orders to give you the sum of 20 million dinars, and if they say you are looking for money, this is considered to be contrary to conditions, while when they stole all your money and prevented people from giving you any help, this was not a violation. According to the conditions, then what will you eat and drink? And if you become a beggar, you sit in the street and ask for help from the people. 3. This has been done, you will become the manager, so they will reveal themselves because they say you are the manager and you are the one who records the items for them and you are the one who gives orders and whoever uses them command elements here you will know the truth that they are a gang of thieves only and you are just a game for them only.